All right, today is a fun one. This is coming from one of our subscribers, my man Anthony Marsilio. Great guy, smart, sharp guy, entrepreneur, and Bitcoin investor. And he brought up a really good question that we're going to address on this today. And that was curious on thoughts of CEP, Cantor Equity Partners, New Hampshire legislation, and Strike's new lending product. Due to that being such a big question and so much to cover, what we're going to do today is we're going to primarily focus on CEP, in particular 21 Capital, as CEP is in the process of a merger. And this will be really the biggest competitor to MicroStrategy to date, and that might not be a bad thing. Okay, that's what we're going to dive in today. The New Hampshire's legislation, probably going to put that one on the back burner. The Strike's new lending product will somewhat naturally, organically come up through this discussion, and that's what we'll dive into today. So let's start with what is CEP? Who really even is Cantor Equity Partners? Well, there's going to be a lot of intersections of individuals in 21 Capital. It'll get interesting, okay? So, Cantor Equity Partners is an investment firm, right? Howard Lutnick has been in the game for a very long time. And so he runs Cantor Equity Partners, and he's put a huge stake directly into Bitcoin himself and with his company. And ultimately, he is what is his official title? The United States Secretary of Commerce. So you've got the current sitting Secretary of Commerce, and his company is involved in a merger to become one of the largest Bitcoin holders out there. What does that tell you from a legislative standpoint? That is as bullish as it gets. Howard Lutnick has known Trump for a very long time. They go way back. And now he is sitting at his right hand. What do you think he's doing? He's highly encouraging Bitcoin, and his company also believes in it as well. So he's got a lot of skin in the game. And he's a well-known investor. So that's one of the individuals in CEP. But before we get into the details, why don't we take a look at overall the companies that are involved in 21 Capital. So one of those, the CEO, Jack Mallers. If you're going to follow anybody out there, Jack Mallers is one of my favorite people by far in the Bitcoin world to follow. Young kid, hungry, tons of energy, long history in the equities market. I believe his grandfather started the Chicago Board of Trade. I could be wrong with that, but I think his father was highly involved in all of this at some point, and he knows his stuff. He will surprise. I think a lot of people underestimate his knowledge, his skills, just in investing, not just Bitcoin, but an overall understanding of the market. And he gives one of the greatest explanations I hear on. He's got I think a weekly podcast, and I listen to some of those. He has one of the best explanations, in my opinion, on the current state of the macro environment and what's actually going to happen long term. That's the kind of guy. He's well connected, very intelligent, knows what's going on at a high level, at macroeconomic and overall investing level, and he's going to be the CEO. Now, in addition, and he operates the company Strike, a very well respected Bitcoin company, which comes into effect when Anthony was talking about my thoughts on the Strike lending product. A lot of what you're going to see, the mindset and mentality that is associated with Strike, is going to find its way into a 21 Capital. Okay, and we'll get into what those details look like. So with that, in addition, you have Tether, who is an investor and highly involved in that. Well, guess what? Tether, right, They they happen to be the most profitable company by headcount in the world, arguably. I don't think it's arguably. I think it's a pure fact, but just to hedge, we're going to say arguably. I'm going to try and pull up some data here just to share real quick, okay? Because these numbers are absolutely staggering, okay? So Tether has about okay, so these are estimates. This is from 2024, okay? Okay, let's go with Apple and Microsoft and Goldman Sachs, okay? Because those are companies that people know. We're going to start there, and then we're going to show you their numbers. Okay, so Apple's profit, not their top line revenue, their profit was $96 billion in 2024. Pretty impressive. 161,000 employees. $595,000 in profit per employee. They do pay their people well, but not every single person over there is making $595,000. Some are making less, and guess what? That's pretty darn profitable. That's really good. Okay, Microsoft, $89 billion, 220,000 employees, $405,000 of profit per employee. Goldman Sachs, $9 billion, much smaller numbers, but they employ less people. $45,000, $200,000 profit per employee. That's just an idea, okay? So with Apple, about $600,000, okay, in profit per employee. Tether did a fraction of the revenue, $6.2 billion. They employ 100 human beings, $62 million in profit per employee. What? 600,000 is second place. 62 million per employee. Guess what? They have cash. Somebody that profitable speaks to the power that 21 Capital can have. Okay? Then we go to SoftBank. Who is SoftBank? I would almost say SoftBank is like the MicroStrategy of today. Like, okay, so here's why I say it. It's a weird analogy, but here's the analogy. MicroStrategy was a software company. They started, I think, in the late 1980s, right? Software company. Then they transitioned into a Bitcoin Treasury company, and now they're evolving, right, into more of a Bitcoin marketplace. You could argue. So anyway, had a traditional business, then got into Bitcoin Treasury. Here's the thing. You take SoftBank, which is, I believe, the number 3 largest telecommunication companies in Japan. So it was an operating business, okay? Had all this cash. What did they want to do with it? Well, for the past 20, 30 years, you couldn't buy Bitcoin because it wasn't really, I mean, less 15, sure. But before that, you couldn't because it didn't exist. So what did they do with their cash? They reinvested in startup companies, became one of the biggest tech investment firms out there, okay? Traditional business figured out a way to juice their cash through investing. That's what MicroStrategy did, right? They juiced their cash by investing in Bitcoin. So I say all this because they invested in Tether. Okay? So that's how Tether makes sense that they got involved in this. They invested in Alibaba. Now, what I always think when I hear SoftBank, I always think WeWork, one of the biggest flops ever. Here's the thing. I'm not saying just because they invested in WeWork, and Adam Newman, you gotta watch that. I forgot what is it? Just WeWork, whatever. There's the series on it. It's awesome. But here's the thing. Just because they invested in that doesn't mean everything's gonna be a flop. Obviously, Tether, the most profitable company in the world. Alibaba. I mean, these are big names that they invest in. They have money. They have cash. So here's the big picture. So you have 21 Capital, Jack Mallers, one of the brightest, smartest, hungriest minds out there, right? Operating the company. You have Cantor Fitzgerald, who is, Howard Lutnick, who owns Cantor Fitzgerald, who is the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, who's involved. You have Tether, the most valuable crypto company in the world, profitable. And then you have SoftBank, one of the deepest pockets are out there, and is investing in tech for a very long time. That is what you call a super band, right? You bring all the greatest players together and you make this crazy band that's unbelievable. That's what these guys did. So these guys are legit. They're the real deal. Now the question becomes, what are they going to do that's different than MicroStrategy, right? Because MicroStrategy is out there. They already exist. Again, the difference is MicroStrategy has an operating business. They've turned their Treasury reserve into Bitcoin. 21 Capital is unique in the sense that they are Bitcoin native. There is no operating company associated with this. It is purely a Bitcoin play. Now, what they are doing is they are raising funds. They're going to market, and they're going to have 42,000 Bitcoin, okay? That's how they are going to start when they go public. To put that into perspective, okay? Satoshi Nakamoto has, let's call it 1 million Bitcoin. Some people argue 1.1 million Bitcoin, okay? Then you have MicroStrategy or Strategy with 569,000 Bitcoin. U.S. government, I believe, has 220,000, something like that. Okay, let's get into corporations. Strategy, 569,000. Mara Holdings, 48,000. When 21 Capital gets involved and has their 42,000, they will be the number 3 largest corporate holders of Bitcoin out of the gates when they go public. Okay? That's pretty impressive. And why they are going to have such a big stack is that they are creating new products to bring to the market that are Bitcoin native. And that's the cool part about this is you get your Bitcoin, you have it in cold storage, price goes up. What do you do with it? Because you don't want to sell it, right? This will be, in my opinion, one of the companies that further legitimizes the ability to take out loans against your Bitcoin so that you can pay your bills, you can do what you want without selling your asset, which is really cool. Now, again, these are newer products. I think it's going to take time for at least myself to get comfortable with some of these because you are exposing and putting your Bitcoin at risk. But there's going to be new and cool things that are going out, and I think 21 Capital will really push this along quickly, which I think is positive, right? So then you ask, okay, cool. Well, how does CEP get involved in all this? Cantor Equity Partners. Well, here's the thing. Cantor Equity Partners is already on the NASDAQ, okay? 21 Capital is not. Well, CEP, Cantor Fitzgerald has done a lot of they're a special acquisition company, right? So a SPAC. So they've done a lot of this stuff. So they're saying, hey, we're already on the stock market, okay? And you can trade us today. Why don't we merge with 21 Capital, which will then bring them into the mix. And at that point, that's a fast track to get it into the public markets, right? Today, Cantor Equity Partners is trading at $32.88 a share, okay? Now here's the thing. By investing in CEP, again, the timing, it is believed sometime in late 2025, I believe, that 21 Capital will be live or available. We don't know, but my understanding is that those shares will be convertible. So you can actually get in early. It's like you're buying really early into 21 Capital, could be the number 3 largest holder of Bitcoin with a rock star team, right? Now, keep in mind, there's going to be so what could happen, right? There's a ton of speculation in this, right? Because ultimately, if you get in early with CEP, those shares should be convertible over to what 21 Capital. I think the ticker is going to be XX121, right? Will be convertible. Now, keep in mind, there's going to be some dilution, okay? Because I think it's going to get heavily diluted, and my understanding is going to be about 2.7% of the overall holdings of currently what the market cap is for CEP today relative to what it will be at the time of conversion. Now, you're still getting in early. Don't get me wrong on that. Please do your homework. Again, this is all educational. But you have it's highly speculative, but you could get in early, even though it's diluted. You could still get a great price for these shares should they continue to go up. And the thing is, why would they go up? Well, the reason they would go up is that you're going to have what people believe to be newer offerings to the market. What the different products they have coming out. Some of these are going to be lending products. Other of these, the fact that they have the 42,000 Bitcoin, MicroStrategy historically has leveraged their operating business as something that they get loans against. Now they have more and more Bitcoin, so they can take loans against that. But right out of the gates, this isn't going to be based on any of the operating funds. It's simply going to be based on the amount of Bitcoin that they already have, right? That they can take loans against as their collateral to then build up their stack even more, right? So this is going to be highly leveraged, but at the same time, a couple things are going to happen. One, the timing is pretty good based on where they are in the cycle, okay? Again, we believe Q4 will be when Bitcoin prices are going to peak and we're going to be towards the top of the bull market. In addition to that, this further legitimizes MSTR. So although competition, here's what's so interesting about Bitcoin is that with most industries, the more competition you have, the less money you are going to make. With Bitcoin, it's the exact opposite. The more competition you have, the more money you potentially can make, right? Because especially with somebody like MicroStrategies, when you're in early and you have this stack and all of a sudden here comes 21 Capital, they just bought 42,000 Bitcoin, that's going to increase the price of Bitcoin. In addition to that, this further legitimizes the business model of MicroStrategy because you have big names playing the game with real huge sums of money. This lets other companies go, oh, if they're doing that, I can get comfortable exploring this as an option as well. And it becomes this flywheel. And this is when game theory comes into effect. And it just keeps stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking on top of each other when you see these big legitimate players come in. And it helps everybody. It rises all the shit. What is it? The rising tide rises all ships, whatever. I always get that one wrong. That's what's going to happen here, right? So let's circle it back. CEP, Cantor Equity Partners, interesting play. Highly speculative. There's going to be dilution. Could you be in early? Yeah, 100% if you buy this thing. Does it have the potential to go way up? Absolutely. What's so cool about 21 Capital? This is a bunch of rock stars with crazy deep pockets that are highly, highly connected in putting their money where their mouth is. Bitcoin native, and they're going to build out new products to bring to the market that's going to increase adoption. It's going to bring people in that may not have been in Bitcoin because now they can get loans against it. There's going to be a lot of different things, products that are going to become available, and I think it's going to really advance the marketplace quickly, help increase the adoption, help increase the price of Bitcoin, help increase MSTR stock as it is anyway. It's really exciting time. So the question is, should you buy CEP to front run? It is a way to front run. Again, educational. Do your own research and make an informed decision. Should you just keep buying MSTR? Possibly, because only more competition is going to raise the value of MicroStrategy. Should you buy Bitcoin? This is only and ever all about Bitcoin. Every single one of these things we have mentioned is a bet on Bitcoin. So you better understand and be highly convicted in Bitcoin before you entertain any of these options. And sometimes just buying Bitcoin, throwing in cold storage, go do it. That may be the perfect play no matter what. Some of these I do expect some juiced returns. I think really what I'm so excited about 21 Capital is that it legitimizes Bitcoin at a very big and different level. MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, absolutely evangelist, and he's helping with the education, right? Jack Mallers he gets pretty involved sometimes on some of the legislative items, right? And then you've got Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Lutnick, who literally is part of the cabinet for the United States of America. So I really see these being strong plays and exciting times ahead, new products to the market, and something that I think is going to open the floodgates to more and more of these companies and adoption down the road. And so there you go. That's my little recap. Not little. It wasn't short by any means, but it was a lot of intertwined, well-connected individuals trying to do big things, all that will benefit Bitcoiners. So there you go. I would do a little research, get to know some of these players, and explore if you want to front run through CEP to get access to 21 Capital. Either way, it's exciting times ahead. Go ahead, like and subscribe below. Let me know if you got any questions. Let me know your thoughts on anything that I shared. I enjoy taking this feedback that people have, just put their questions out there, and I will do my best to layer those in to videos as we go. So let me know your thoughts on this. Keep stacking those sats, stay sovereign, and enjoy.